My son forgot to end the call after our talk. I heard him chuckling with his wife. He's too oblivious to spot it and too foolish to grasp it. Those words struck me like a sharp slap. I quietly ended the call myself and headed to the bank. A month later, I served him the lawsuit papers and said, "We'll settle this in court." He looked terrified because he sensed it was his downfall. But he had no idea my strategy was only starting. Before we go on, please subscribe to the channel and share in the comments where you're tuning in. Thanks for the support. Dad, I'll repay you next month. I swear. Ethan's voice held that familiar tension I'd known for years. Another crisis. Another expense he couldn't handle on his bartender's pay. Don't worry, son. Family stands by family. I meant it. Just as I had in the many times before. The phone felt warm against my ear as I leaned back in my kitchen chair, watching the late afternoon sunlight stream through the curtains. All right, I have to run. Love you, Dad. Love you too. Ethan. I waited for the usual click, but it didn't come. Instead, I heard the soft thud of the phone being placed down, followed by footsteps fading away. Ethan had forgotten to hang up. I was about to end it myself when I caught Olivia's voice, sharp and inquisitive. Did he spot the card withdrawals this time? My hand froze on the phone. Card withdrawals. Ethan's laugh rang through the speaker, cold and derisive. He's too oblivious to catch that and too dim to piece it together. Even if he did, the words landed like a heavy punch. My grip tightened on the phone until my knuckles turned white. How much did you pull this week? Olivia's voice again. Casual, like chatting about the rain. $4,000, easy cash. The old man's pin was a joke to crack. Who picks their wedding date? Ethan's voice drifted as he moved through their apartment. He's been such a fool all these years. I felt a chill settle in my chest. My wedding date. The day I'd married Ethan's mother, Emily. The date I'd told him about when he was 12, sharing how it was the best day of my life. Quietly, carefully, I hung up the phone. My hands trembled as I opened my banking app. There it was, plain as day. ATM withdrawal, $4,000. 3 days prior, another $3,000. Last week, $5,000. The pattern went back months, perhaps years. How had I been so unaware? I scrolled through transaction after transaction, each one twisting like a blade. The savings I'd built over 40 years of work, the nest egg from skipping trips, buying store-brand food, driving the same car for 20 years, all to ensure Ethan had what he needed. College fees after Emily passed. Aid for his wedding, help with their apartment down payment. I recalled sitting in my empty home after Emily's funeral, gazing at Ethan's acceptance letter to the University of Washington. The tuition was $35,000 a year. I'd cashed in half my retirement fund without a second thought. For Ethan's future. I told myself Emily would have wanted it. Now. I sat in that same kitchen, staring at my phone, seeing my life's efforts vanish 4,000 at a time. My chest burned with a feeling I hadn't known in years. Not the sorrow that gripped me after Emily's death. Not the isolation of being alone. This was pure, sharp anger. I set the phone down and walked to the window. Across the street, my neighbor was cutting the grass. The everyday sounds of suburban evening went on as if my world hadn't crumbled. Ethan believed I was too oblivious to notice, too foolish to understand. I stared at my reflection in the window glass. 68 years old, silver-haired, in the same cozy sweater I'd owned for a decade. Maybe I did seem like an easy target. Maybe I had been, but no longer. I picked up the phone again, scrolling through contacts until I found what I needed. Tomorrow, I'd seek answers. I'd learn exactly how my son got my PIN, how long this had lasted, and most crucially, how to stop it forever. The plan was forming in my mind as I sat in the deepening shadows. Ethan thought he was so sharp, so much wiser than his old dad. He was about to find out how mistaken he was. The morning coffee tasted sharp, but it cleared my thoughts. I'd spent the night plotting, and now I required details. Altering my PIN right away would alert Ethan that I knew of the thefts, and I wasn't prepared for that clash yet. First, I needed to know precisely how he'd cracked my code. I dressed thoughtfully, picking clothes to blend in at my stop. The Blue Moon Bar stood in downtown Seattle, a dimly lit spot where Ethan's close friend, Dylan, tended bar. If anyone knew the ins and outs of Ethan's plot, it would be him. The drive took 20 minutes along known roads. I'd lived in this city my whole adult life, raised Ethan here, laid Emily to rest in Evergreen Cemetery, just 10 miles from where I now parked. The irony struck me that I was using these same familiar spots to probe my own son. The bar's neon sign flickered like an erratic pulse. Inside, the air was thick with scents of fried meals and old beer. It was hardly noon, but a few regulars already sat at the long wooden bar. I took a seat at the far end, away from the rest. Dylan glanced up from cleaning glasses, his face lighting up with recognition. "Mr. Hale, it's been ages since you were here. How are you holding up managing?" "Dylan, just popped in for a quick drink." I settled on the stool, getting comfortable. "Bourbon straight, please." He poured with smooth skill, the golden liquid glowing in the mirror's light behind the bar. "Ethan said you've been assisting them a bunch lately." "That's awfully kind of you. Family matters." I sipped, feeling the warmth spread down my throat. "Speaking of family, how's Ethan managing his money these days? He seems less worried about finances lately." Dylan's look shifted a bit, a touch of unease. "Perhaps. Yeah, he's been more at ease with that. Says he worked out a method. A method." I kept my tone light. "Just curious. Sounds like Ethan. He was always quick with figures." "Well, you know how banking goes." Dylan wiped the bar harder than needed. "Folks find ways to get by." I leaned in a little, dropping my voice to a friendly murmur. "Between us, I've been struggling with my bank stuff lately. Keep mixing up my PIN." "How do you younger people keep track of all these codes?" Dylan eased up, seeming glad for the safer topic. "Oh man, that's rough. I use my birthday, but Ethan always called that too predictable. He picks dates that hold meaning for him. You know, he mentioned he figured out his dad's PIN by testing key family dates." My heart pounded hard, but I kept my face even. "Clever move. What sort of dates?" "Well, he tried your birthday first, then his mom's, then—" Dylan stopped, sensing he might have said too much. "I probably shouldn't chat about this." "Oh, no worries. I'm just amazed he recalled all those dates." I lifted my glass in a playful toast. "To fond memories." The memory slammed into me like a blow. Ethan at 12, on our back porch after Emily's funeral, tears on his cheeks. "Tell me about the day you wed Mom," he'd said softly. "Tell me about when you were happy." I'd sat with him, my grief fresh and deep, and shared it all. How Emily looked gliding down the aisle, how my hands shook, slipping the ring on her finger. How we danced to our song as man and wife. March 22nd, 1985, the date I'd set as my PIN 15 years later when the bank asked for a 4-digit code. "Yeah," Dylan went on, unaware of the turmoil inside me. "He said it was your wedding anniversary. Pretty touching that you still use it after all this time." I downed the bourbon in one fiery swallow. Well, they say old habits die hard. I laid a 20 on the bar. Keep the change, Dylan. And maybe we keep this chat just between us. Ethan might feel awkward about sharing family money talks. Sure thing. Mr. Hale, no issue. I left the bar on shaky legs, the spring breeze slapping my face. In my car. I gripped the wheel until my knuckles whitened again. The wedding date. My dearest memory twisted into the tool for my son's deceit. I started the engine and merged into traffic, driving to Ethan's apartment. It was time for a talk, but not the one he anticipated. As I navigated the familiar streets, I practiced the words I'd use at his door. Ethan thought he was so sly, turning my love for his mother against me. He was about to see that some memories were worth defending. The wheel dug into my palms as I arrived at Ethan's place. Dylan's words rang in my head. He said it was your wedding anniversary. The simple duplex loomed ahead. Its unkempt yard contrasted my neat one. I'd chipped in for the down payment here 3 years back. I knocked firmly. 3 solid raps. Ethan opened the door in lounge pants and a stained shirt, his hair messy, like he'd just risen at 2 in the afternoon. His expression went from puzzled to fake cheer. Dad, what brings you here? I know it all. The words came out calm, firm. Give back my money. His mouth gaped, then shut. What money, Dad? I have no clue what you mean. I drew the folded bank statements from my coat pocket, the paper rustling like charges. These withdrawals, my PIN, my wedding date. Color fled his face. He backed up, leaving the door ajar like a barrier. That's not possible. I wouldn't. March 22nd, 1985. I spoke the numbers like a verdict. The day I married your mother. The code you've used to rob me. Who told you his voice broke? The act falling apart. Does it matter I entered without asking? Eyeing the living room. New couch. A huge TV on the wall. All bought with my cash. My past. Ethan's jaw set. Fine. Yes, I took some funds. But it's not theft in family. Some funds. I spread the statements wide. $45,000 over 8 months. Olivia stepped from the kitchen, her tone cutting. Ethan, what's happening? Your father-in-law knows about our PIN setup. Setup. The term soured my mouth. Is that what we call stealing now? Olivia folded her arms. Bold. You have more money than you can spend. Alone in that large house. At least Ethan made good use of it. The memory struck suddenly. Ethan's wedding 4 years ago. I'd watched him dance with Olivia at the reception, recalling my first dance with Emily. That night, I'd given them a check for $15,000 as a gift, savings from countless solo dinners in a too-quiet home without Emily's laugh. Good use. I scanned the room once more. Like that TV, those leather seats, Ethan's posture stiffened, shame turning to boldness. You should thank me it was family, not outsiders. At least the money stayed close. Thankful. I echoed the word like spoiled food. Look, Dad, you're overreacting. It's not like you need it. What would you do with it? Buy another sweater. Olivia laughed, a grating sound slicing the air. He probably doesn't even recall sharing that PIN. I hadn't shared it. The PIN was private, cherished. It stood for the one perfect day when Emily walked to me in white lace and vowed eternity. They'd soiled that memory, making it a theft device. I want every cent returned. My voice held steady. Even by next week, Ethan scoffed. Or what? You'll get the cops on your own boy. The dare lingered. I folded the statements neatly, tucking them away. We'll see. I turned to the door, steps deliberate. Behind me. I heard Olivia hiss something to Ethan. His low reply. The door shut with a firm snap. In my car. I paused, hands clenching the wheel until knuckles blanched. The engine purred as I drove off, mind swirling like dark clouds. Ethan figured it was done. He thought I'd retreat home, beaten and shamed, like a doddering old man put in his place. He was set to learn his error. The door shut behind me, the silent house magnifying the echo of Ethan's defiance. I hung my coat on the usual hook, the empty hall stretching like a nod to all the lone meals, all the holidays alone since Emily died. I went to the kitchen and put the kettle on, the withdrawal records spread on the counter, each entry a minor betrayal. Perhaps I should drop it. 45,000 was substantial, but I had enough for comfort. Maybe Ethan was correct. What would I do with it? The kettle whistled, breaking the quiet. I poured steaming water over a tea bag, watching the golden hue spread like creeping doubt. But as I stirred, another memory rose. Ethan's second year at the University of Washington. He'd called in a panic, needing $6,000 right away for books and fees. I'd gone to the bank that day, pulling from my travel fund. Emily and I had planned Ireland before her illness. We never went. I set the spoon down harder than meant. 3 years on, Ethan's car failed, another urgent need, another dip into my shrinking savings. Then his wedding, apartment deposit, credit debt from the business he launched and quit in 6 months. I walked to the living room where family pictures lined the shelf. Emily beamed from our honeymoon shot, her face full of delight. Beside it, Ethan's graduation photo, cap tossed high while I stood beaming behind. I'd given up everything for that. My hopes, retirement dreams, travel chances while still able, all for opportunities Ethan never had to fight for. You should thank me it was family. His words replayed as I touched Emily's image in the frame. She'd pushed for a college fund when Ethan was born. He deserves every chance, she'd said, tallying dollars from her teaching pay. Even then, she'd planned for him. I lifted the wedding photo, sensing the frame's heft. March 22nd, 1985. My life's peak joy, now just a code for my son's ease. The fury washed over me like a force. Not the quick, hot kind from before, but cooler, more deliberate. I placed the photo down with care. Calling police flickered in my thoughts. Card fraud was serious, but Ethan was right on one point. I couldn't do that to my boy. Yet. There were other paths for theft, legal ones without crimes. I climbed the stairs to my room, each step with intent. In the bathroom, I brushed my teeth, eyeing my mirror self. 68, silver-haired, in the sweater Ethan mocked. Maybe I looked the part of a mark, but appearances deceive. I switched off the lights and slid into bed, sheets cool on my skin. Outside, the neighborhood hushed into night. Regular families wrapping normal dinners, normal chats about everyday woes. My woes were anything but normal. Now, lying in the dark, a scheme took form, not vengeance, but fairness. There was a line, and I meant to show Ethan the difference. The bedside clock glowed red. 11:47 p.m. Tomorrow was Friday. The courthouse would open. I'd make calls, research. 40 years as an engineer taught preparation and accuracy. I shut my eyes, but rest evaded. My brain buzzed with options, tactics, the precise moves ahead. Ethan thought himself clever, thought he'd bested his silly old father. Tomorrow, I'd start showing him this old man's smarts. Sunlight pierced the blinds as I rose. Last night's plan crisp like a finished design. I'd slept soundly, the choice bringing odd calm. By 7 a.m., I wore my finest suit, the gray one from Emily's funeral, ironed and proper. The drive to Pacific National Bank took 15 minutes on calm morning roads. I parked near the door, holding a thick folder of printed statements, records, and notes from my wakeful night. The bank lobby hummed with bright lights, early patrons at their tasks. I went to the service desk where a young woman with neat hair welcomed me warmly. "Good morning. How may I assist? I need to report unauthorized debit card use." I placed the folder down firmly. "Multiple pulls over months. Fraud." Her smile wavered. "Oh dear. Let me fetch our security head right away." Soon, I faced Robert Jenkins, a mid-40s man with a slightly crooked tie despite the hour. He opened my folder, his look turning grave per page. "Mr. Hale, these sums are large. You claim none of these ATM pulls." "Not one," I leaned in. "Someone's used my PIN for months. I suspect a relative." His pen paused over a notepad. "A relative. My son has my personal details. He knows key life dates." I indicated the pattern. "See, amounts stay under 6,000. Below report limits." Jenkins nodded somberly. "That's sadly typical in family fraud. We'll launch and probe now." The memory hit unbidden. Ethan at 16. Borrowing my car. I'd given keys and wallet, trusting him for gas and safe return. He'd been reliable then. Honoring trust. "What's the procedure?" I asked. "We'll review ATM videos, matched to your statement times. If we ID the person," he said gently. "Will you pursue charges if it's your son?" The query dangled like a test. "I want my funds back. How that occurs relies on his cooperation." Over 3 days, I kept my routines while the bank probed. I trimmed the lawn methodically, sorted my garage, cleared gutters unneeded. But under the normal, excitement buzzed like current in wires. On Wednesday afternoon, Jenkins rang. "Mr. Hale, we've checked the ATM footage. The individual matches your son's description. We've reached him to discuss, and he first denied, but with video proof." Jenkins cleared his throat. He got quite upset. Claimed it's family business. Bank shouldn't meddle. I held the phone firmer. "Next move, we must offer him chance to clarify or repay before formal steps. But, Mr. Hale, beware." He seemed very riled by our role. After the call, I sat in my kitchen, staring at my dark window reflection. The bank had acted as hoped. Now Ethan knew discovery came official, not just Dad's hunch. I spent the evening checking notes, predicting his reply. Ethan always reacted rashly when trapped, lashing out over owning up. Emily called it his trapped cat ways, all claws and rage when cornered. As I sipped evening coffee, my phone buzzed hard on the counter. The screen lit with the name I'd awaited but feared, Ethan. It kept vibrating, insistent like an unyielding charge. I eyed it through 3 rings, knowing the next words would shape all that followed. The persistent ring drew me up. The screen confirmed my dread. I breathed deep before picking up. Voice Ivan against the storm ahead. "Hello, Ethan." "What the hell have you done?" His voice burst through, raw with wrath. "The bank contacted me. They're charging me with fraud." I reported unauthorized account pulls. "The bank is handling its duty. Unauthorized, I'm your son. This is family funds." I stayed quiet, letting his words drift like fading smoke. "Dad, you there, speak. I'm hearing you." The phone shuffled, urgent whispers behind. Then Olivia's voice sliced in, jagged as shattered glass. "Mr. Hale, this is vile conduct. Is this your idea of family love, Olivia? Stop. Let me handle it." Her tone held that cutting edge she used to hurt. "Ethan gave you his time, care, respect, and you repay by shaming him with bank sleuths." I'd heard this pitch before. Last Christmas, when I'd given Ethan a simple gift over the pricey watch he'd hinted at for months. The same feigned hurt, the same warped reasoning turning my caution to meanness. I want my money repaid. Ethan's voice came back, panting with fury. Your money. Dad, you'll pass someday. Who gets it all? I was just taking an early share. An early share needs approval. Approval. He laughed, bitter and rough. Want approval here. Halt this probe or you'll rue it. The warning chilled like frost on glass. Rue it how, precisely? You act so wise in that big empty house. But you rely on us more than we on you, old-timer. How often do we visit call to check Olivia's voice joined? Sweet with fake worry. We're your only kin left. Mr. Hale, want to toss that for cash? What would Emily say? Her name's mention struck hard. I shut my eyes, recalling Emily's soft voice in bedtime tales, her steady hands teaching shoe ties. Emily would want truth in family. Truth, Ethan's voice cracked in shock. Want truth, fine. You're a lonely elder buying kin's notice with cash. Now mad someone named it. I stepped to the window, viewing the calm street of regular homes. Regular lives sans such talks. The bank finishes its probe no matter my words now. The wheels turn, then stop them. Call back. I can't. Ethan. Can't or won't. Won't. Quiet stretched, filled with breaths and far-off traffic from his side. Fine. His tone cooled to something sharper. Planned. You wish this game we'll play, but don't beg us when you see your loss. The line cut. I placed the phone down slow, precise, like disarming danger. My hands shook a touch. Not fear, but from holding steady through 20 minutes of pure spite. I went to my desk and took a notepad, jotting all I recalled from the talk. Ethan's warnings, Olivia's tricks, their precise threats of regret and fallout. If it worsened, I wanted records. The memory rose as I wrote. Ethan at 25, calling midnight from jail, drunk driving, he'd said, but a mix-up. Could I bail? The cop was wrong. He claimed, all wrong but him. I'd paid bail, got a lawyer, saw him leave ungrateful. Now, 15 years later, the habit held, all wrong save Ethan. I ended my notes and filed them in the folder. Outside, the area eased into evening flow, but I glanced often at the window. Ethan's warnings vague but aimed. I'd long learned trapped beasts act wild. As I readied for bed, a far siren wailed in the night, nearing then fading. It paused me at my window, scanning the empty road below. All seemed usual, but the dark felt altered, shifted. Those 2 days dragged in alert routine. Store runs, emails to former co-workers, morning strolls in the neighborhood. But under the daily, I felt like quarry awaiting the hunter's lunge. On Thursday morning, the knock broke the peace. Harsh, commanding thuds echoing my quiet home like shots. I peeked through living room drapes and saw 2 police cars in my drive. Lights flashing red and blue on my garage door. 3 officers on the porch, one with formal papers. I opened steady. Mr. Preston Hale. Yes, the lead officer, a woman in 40s with firm gray eyes, unfolded the document neatly. We hold a search warrant for this property on an anonymous report of illegal arms storage. The words chilled like ice water. Arms officer. I've never owned a firearm. Mistake here. We'll search fully to confirm. Sir. Enter. I moved aside. Mind whirling. Anonymous report. Timing too neat. Too vengeful. Ethan's voice echoed. You'll rue it. Soon. My home turned to disorder. Drawers yanked. Cushions flipped. Cabinets dumped on counters. I trailed room to room, seeing 40 years of order ruined by their steady intrusion. Sir. Wait outside till we're done. On my front yard, I stood like accused in my own tale. Neighbors peeked out. Phones up. Filming my shame for keeps. Mrs. Larson next door whispered to her spouse. Words lost in air. But scorn plain, a memory rose unwanted. Ethan's 21st birthday. I'd surprised him with a Chicago weekend trip, paid full from lunch savings at home over eateries. We'd seen buildings, museums, shared deep pizza. He'd hugged at the station, called it his top birthday. Mr. Hale, the lead officer, returned. Search complete. No arms found, as expected. I own none. The report cited spots, basement, closets. Nothing backs it. Her tone held regret. Eyes pro. We'll report as such. They left as quick as come, leaving tipped furniture and breached rooms. I watched their lights vanish round the bend, then faced my house. Front door gaped like a frozen yell. The door clicked shut, papers crunching underfoot as dismay hardened to resolve. Books lay open on floor, pages like snapped wings, kitchen drawers ajar, spills on counters in blaming heaps. I went to my study where the computer hummed soft on desk. The social media icon shone blue, a site I'd shunned for years, favoring calls over posts. But Ethan's threats shifted the game. I logged into the account I'd made but ignored. Fingers slow on keys. Emily set it up before dying, saying I'd want grandkid pics. No grandkids now. Just betrayal. I went to Olivia's page, her grin taunting from a trip photo I'd funded unaware. Top post pinned, uploaded 2 hours back, a video, the search. My disgrace in clear view. Sadly, my father-in-law chose wrong. Caption. We're devastated, but not shocked. Age decline hits many seniors, sparking paranoid claims against kin. Pray for him in this tough phase. Family first. Mental health note. Video showed cop cars and drive. Officers with boxes. Neighbors like scavengers. 47 likes, 16 shares. Comments like venom. So tragic when they turn this way. My gran did same before assisted care. You're a gem enduring this. Olivia. I slammed the laptop closed, hands quaking with fury. The phone rang. My bank, Mr. Hale. Robert Jenkins from fraud team. Update on your matter. Status. It's slower than hoped. Family issues complicate. We've talked to your son again. He insists pulls were approved. Approved. My voice rose despite calm try. I said they weren't. Yes, but sans more proof or complaint. Hands tied. We freeze account, but reclaiming spent funds. He faded polite. You're saying no real aid. We do all per rules. Mr. Hale, maybe settle family style. I ended without more. The laptop sat shut on desk. Olivia's falsehoods lurking in dark. 47 folks now saw me as fading elder with wild claims against devoted family. I reopened it, stared at post, decided. If public play, we'd play public. But I'd steer the tale. I grabbed notepad and wrote, not rage words or pleas, but ordered plan. 40 years engineering showed every issue solvable with right tools. Enough patience. Ethan thought sharp. Olivia deemed clever. They'd learned cunning versus true smarts. The screen faded as I leaned back, but a spark lit. Time to flip quietly. I'd spent career fixing tough problems by parts. This was no different. Ethan and Olivia waged war with deceit. I'd counter with facts. Proof. First, records. I added a call recorder app to phone. The sort for divorce cases. All future Ethan talks saved. His words caught forever. Second, pro aid. I found Detective Nathan Brooks via directory. Ad for quiet probes on delicate cases. His office second floor of rundown downtown building. Spot for those with no options. $45,000 over 8 months. I said, sliding statements over his messy desk. Need to trace spending. Brooks younger than thought, perhaps 45. Sharp eyes, hands fidgety. Shifting papers, tapping pen, checking phone. Tailing costs. Mr. Hale. Daily 300 plus extras. How long for this theft scale? 2 weeks for lifestyle view. The memory came as I wrote check, planning the water plant in 1987. Mayor asking cuts for savings. Solid work isn't cheap, I said. But cheaper than mending poor work after. Same here. In a week. Brooks gave first report. Ethan and Olivia's outlays showed easy luxury. High-end clothes, posh eateries, resort weekends. Photos caught them toasting champagne at spots I'd not known. Sporting watches pricier than cars. My funds fueled their show of wealth. But Brooks's top find wasn't pics. It was digital. Your son boasts his inheritance early on social, he said, showing Instagram shots from last week. Image Ethan toasting glass. Caption to kin cash, well used. Some live fully, best life, family riches, I stared, jaw tight. He wasn't just robbing. He mocked public while at it. Third, the snare. I made fake email. Sent self a bogus bank alert on odd activity. Then called Ethan. Phone recording quiet. Dad. Issue you sound off. Got bank alert. Flagging big pulls on account. Quiet. Then what pulls large sums? Always under 6,000. They want me in tomorrow for footage review. Footage voice cracked. From ATMs. They see users. More quiet. When he spoke, panic edged new. Dad, hold off. Skip bank tomorrow. Let me call back. Line died. I set phone down and smiled first in weeks. Engineering taught pressure shows weak spots. Ethan just bared his, but plan just starting. Brooks gave proof of splurges. Recordings nabbed admissions. Fake alert proved guilt via fear. Now key part. Legal move. I dialed online found number. Bennett and Partners. How can we help consultation, please? Suing my son. The photo stacked neat in folder. Each a case piece. Brooks's watch detailed. Ethan and Olivia at diners charging more for wine than my grocery month. Boutiques where bags topped my bills. Bennett and Partners' office in restored Victorian near downtown. Brass plate gleaming. Attorney Laura Bennett, younger than expected. Maybe 35, but queries keen. Mr. Hale, sure on this suing kin scars bonds forever. Scar made when son chose theft. She scanned evidence steady. Statements, Brooks's shots, recorded calls where Ethan's guilt slipped in panic. This is solid. Recording's okay since you joined talks. Funds clear. Damages theft. 45,000 plus interest. Fees, maybe extra for fraud pattern. Her pen scratched forms. Each mark locking my course. Filing today. Courthouse clerk stamped docs with firm thud. Seal marked my shift from hurt to sewer. Case CV 2025-2049. Preston Hale versus Ethan Hale and Olivia Hale. Heading home. Phone rang. Ethan. Recorder on before answer. Dad. Talk. Drop bank mess we can fix. Fix how exactly? Look, perhaps I borrowed sans ask. But kin don't sue over mix-ups. Borrowing needs okay. Ethan. Taking sans okay is theft. Olivia's voice background. Say we'll repay. Slow. But will. How slow I asked. 50 monthly. 100. Not wealthy. Dad. Thought of Brooks's pics yesterday. Ethan signing at steakhouse $60 a cut. You'll hear from my lawyer. Lawyer voice rose. Dad. Serious, I'm your son. Was your father. Didn't stop theft. We'll battle, say you're mentally off. Cop search shows. I ended. Finger firm on close. Irony clear. Years back. Ethan 12. Caught swiping candy from store. I'd taken him to apologize. Paid double. Taking not yours wrong. No excuse. He'd learned then. Forgot since. That night, in study, I reviewed Bennett's papers. Complaint laid facts cold. Exact. Planned theft. Trust breach. Info fraud. Reading felt like stranger narrating family end. But some ends vital, like raising flawed building. Clear bad base for better build. Phone buzz text from unknown. This starts it. Old man. No clue what you sparked. I sent to Bennett more intimidation proof. Then poured wine Emily and I saved for special. Aged 15 years in basement. For right time. Tonight fit. Justice worth toast. That month blurred in prep and reviews. Bennett meets, testimony drills, evidence sorts, till entering courthouse hall. My gathered proof weighted me with calm assurance. Courtroom smaller than TV shows, like meeting room with raised seats. Formal setup. Ethan and Olivia at defense with assigned lawyer. Young man swamped by case stack. Judge Elena Vargas opened with gavel snap. Civil theft fraud case. Mr. Hale. Present proof. Bennett rose. Voice clear pro, Your Honor. Will show planned theft 45,000 via unauthorized plaintiff's PIN use. First exhibit statements. Each pull yellow marked. As Bennett read sums, I saw Ethan's face blanch per figure. March 5th, 4,000. March 12th, 3,000. March 19th, 5,000. List droned minutes, betrayal rhythm in dollars. Dates, then Brooks photos. Ethan and Olivia at high-end spots. Luxury shops. Ethan in watch costing more than my auto note. Images on screen for judge. These from theft time. Bennett said, note defendant's life mismatches bartender pay. But peak moment when Bennett played recording. Ethan's voice filled room. Panic plain as he pled skip bank probe. Dad, hold off. Skip bank tomorrow. Let me call back. Recording went to later talk. Look, perhaps I borrowed San's ask. Judge Vargas leaned in. Defendant admits taking San's permission. Ethan's lawyer objected faint. Harm set. Ethan confessed own words. Their defense. Ethan testified shaky. Your Honor, Dad allowed account use. He's aging. Forgets. Written okay, Bennett asked cross. No, but witnesses understood family. No formal for all. Bennett drew social shots from Brooks. Your Instagram, Ethan's face drained as words showed. To kin cash well used. Some live fully. Sounds like permitted use, Joking. Olivia's turn worse. She wept, claiming needs only. While luxury pics lit screen, groceries 1,800 at steakhouse Bennett quizzed. Dry. Memory hit as they writhed. Morning, I overheard Ethan's chuckle via forgotten call. Too oblivious to catch. Too dim to grasp. His smug tone. Easy scorn of my wits. Now he sat witness box. Tripping lies. Theft proof like cell bars. Judge Vargas pondered under 10 minutes. Evidence clear. Defendant's plan stole from plaintiff using trust-gained info. Theft 45,000 over 8 months. Via deceit. Gavel boomed like thunder. Win for plaintiff 45,000 repay. Plus fees. Lawyer costs. 20,000 penalty for fraud scheme. Total 65,000. I sat still. Victory sinking like long-sought warmth. Ethan and Olivia gaped at Judge. Faces ashen. 65,000 they lacked. Judgment inescapable. Exiting court. Ethan grabbed my arm. Dad, mercy. Can't pay. You're ruining us. I met his eyes. My son's. Emily's. Saw only scared schemers' math collapsed. You ruined selves, I said soft. I just gave proof. Outside. Bennett shook hand, true glad. Congrats, Mr. Hale. Now the thrill collecting due. I walked to car with judgment in case. Lighter than months. Spring air smelled of blooms. First time since dread call. I pictured future San's betrayal's bite. Enforcement notice came week later. Header starting Ethan and Olivia's money doom. Bennett explained wage cuts. Asset grabs. Account holds. Law gears turning verdicts to cash back. I viewed their fall from safe range. First, Ethan's car. Driving by apartment. Saw it street parked. Sale sign on glass. Red letters dim like excuses. BMW from my theft cash. Now low price desperate. 2 days on. Brooks updated. Liquidating all. Estate sale weekend. Furniture, gadgets, jewels. Behind rent. Eviction looms. Raised how much? 8,000 maybe. Long road. Social posts halted. Olivia's feed. Once eatery and trip pics. Now mute. Last show their court loss. First payment Tuesday. Check 1,800 from Ethan's account. Memo court payment. Teller processed quiet. But I'd note. Perfect irony. Funds returning via bank where Ethan fooled them. I was too daft for theft notice. That afternoon, phone rang. Olivia, nearly skipped. But interest won. Mr. Hale, talk we aired. But 65,000 wrecks us. Ethan jobless. Boss learned suit. Pregnant. Please. Voice true desperate now. Sans old tricks. Olivia, months to repay theft. Chose threats. Shame instead. But baby, your grandkid. Words dangled like lure. Same pull that worked years. Betting I'd yield dignity for kin calm. Any child needs parents knowing right from wrong. Maybe this teaches, I ended. Sat quiet kitchen, recalling theft discovery morning. Shock of deceit. Shame of blind and dim labels as money vanished. Now Ethan labored construction half bartender pay. Watch pawned. Olivia back with mom. Apartment gone missed rent. Court ruling stripped fake wealth. Bared void below. By summer close, they'd repaid 28,000 via sales. Cuts. Rest, 37,000 years to clear. If jobs held, I banked latest. Money order 900. Drove home past normal hoods, sans such knots. In drive. Pa's dying house Emily and I built. 40 years wed. 35 raising Ethan. 18 widowed. The call sparking this seemed another era. But quiet changed. Not empty lone echo, but content hush of fixed issues. Settled scores. I entered. Pulled checkbook to log. 65,001. 28 collected. 37 due. Justice math in dollars. Outcomes. Emily's photo grinned from shelf. Wedding joy fixed. I'd upheld her by rejecting theft as kin bond. She'd backfight, though grieve need. Outside window. Hood eased evening norm. Normal woes. Fixes. Kin sans tangles. In house. Quiet felt triumph. As the story draws to a close. Remember that justice, though painful, can restore balance in unexpected ways. Preston Hale's journey shows the strength of standing firm against betrayal. What did you think of his clever plan? Did it surprise you how far he went for fairness? Share your impressions in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on family trust and redemption. Ask questions so we can discuss more together. Your input helps shape our community. Interact with the channel by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications for more tales like this. To hear the next story, click the box on the left. Thank you for joining us. Your support means everything.